What if I told you that you've been getting ripped off at the gas station every week? Not by the pump, but by the advice you followed your whole life. You think you're smart, doing everything right to save a few dollars or euros on fuel. You follow the tricks from your dad, your neighbor, or some self-proclaimed online expert. O de algún autoproclamado experto we're going to put the most popular fuel-saving tips to the test to see what really works. We'll expose the advice that's draining your wallet and show you the truth that could change the way you fuel up forever. Forget everything you think you know. Let's start. Fuel-saving myths. Debunked myth number 20. The octane myth. Paying extra is useless. Premium fuel gives better mileage in any car. The belief. Marketing promises performance, cleanliness, and better fuel economy. The reality. If your car doesn't need it, you're paying extra for nothing. Octane isn't power, it's resistance to detonation. The knocking sound you hear when the air-fuel mixture ignites too early. Who needs it? Turbocharged or high-compression engines need high octane to prevent knock and protect the engine. Your normal car. If your manual says 87, regular, premium fuel doesn't make it stronger. The engine's computer won't adjust the ignition timing just because you use more expensive gasoline. Studies, including one by the A, confirm, in normal engines, premium offers no benefits in performance or fuel economy. Advice? Use the octane rating indicated in your manual. No more, no less. Myth number 19. The warm-up myth. Idling kills your savings. You must warm up the engine before driving. The popular belief. Cold morning, you start the car and let it idle for 5 or 10 minutes so the engine warms up and the oil circulates. Seems logical, right? The hard truth. Unless you drive a carbureted car from the 80s, you're just burning gas to go nowhere. Los motores modernos de inyección de combustible están diseñados para calentarse mientras conduces. The efficient solution. They only need about 30 seconds, not 10 minutes. The fastest and most efficient way to warm up is to start, wait a moment, and drive gently. You'll warm the cabin faster and get better mileage. The danger. Cold idling allows unburned fuel to wash the oil off the cylinder walls, causing additional wear over time. Also, your catalytic converter only works when hot, so you're just polluting the air more. Before we continue, I'd like to ask a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get back to the video. Myth number 18. The octane myth. Paying extra for nothing premium gasoline increases performance in any car. The popular belief. You see the shiny 91 or 93 with the word premium. Sounds better. It must clean the engine, give more power, and improve mileage. The hard truth. For most cars, putting premium in an engine designed for regular is like watering your plants with Evian water. Useless and expensive. The octane number only measures how much the fuel can be compressed before igniting, preventing knock in high compression or turbo engines. The reality. If your owner's manual says to use regular 87, your car's computer is not configured to take advantage of a higher octane rating. It won't give you extra power or better mileage. The cost. The Aufstiegssteam of the American Automobile Association proved there is no benefit, estimating that drivers waste billions annually by following this myth. Premium gasoline only increases the oil company's profits. Check your manual, not the marketing. Myth number 17. The density myth. The underground tank. Filling up your tank in the morning gets you more fuel. The belief. Fuel is denser when cold, so fueling up early gives you more gasoline for your money. The reality. This idea fails because the fuel is not stored on the surface. Gas stations store fuel in massive tanks buried deep underground, below the frost line. The truth. El suelo aísla los tanques, manteniendo la temperatura del combustible casi idéntica día y noche. At 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., the fuel temperature will be the same. The real saving. Even if the temperature did change a bit, the density change would be so small that the saving would be insignificant cents, not dollars. Don't stress the clock. The best time to refuel is when your tank is low. Myth number 16. Smaller engines always consume less. The belief is that smaller displacement means lower consumption, a concept that ignores the workload imposed on the engine. An engine's efficiency is maximized when it operates near its peak torque and with a moderate load. When a low displacement engine, e.g. 1.2 liters turbo, is installed in a heavy vehicle, a 1,500 kilogram SUV, its real-world use forces it to operate constantly under a high-load RPM ratio. To maintain speed or accelerate, the driver must press the pedal harder, forcing the turbo to work at maximum and the ECU, engine control unit, to inject large amounts of fuel. This excessive injection is necessary to prevent knock, premature detonation, and protect the engine from the high temperatures generated by the high turbo pressure. The engine operates outside its ideal efficiency zone. Conversely, a slightly larger engine, 1.8 liters or 2.0 liters, with more torque reserves, can move the same vehicle at the same speed, with a much lower accelerator load and at lower RPMs, staying in its optimal zone and paradoxically consuming less fuel in real life. Especially on the highway or when the car is loaded. Myth number 15. Always driving in the highest gear saves the most gas. This is a classic case of misunderstanding the relationship between RPM and torque. While low RPMs indicate fewer combustion cycles per minute, forcing the engine into too high a gear subjects it to a state of high load and low piston speed. If the driver tries to accelerate, the engine suffers from what is known as lugging or excessive strain.
La
the ECU
detecta esta alta demanda de par a bajas revoluciones
and responds
de forma
It injects
ineficiente.
an excessive amount of fuel to generate the required force and prevent the engine from knocking or stalling. This forced enrichment negates any potential savings. The correct practice is not to use the highest gear, but the appropriate gear that allows the engine to accelerate smoothly, operating in its optimal torque zone, generally between 1,500 and 2,500 RPM. Maintaining the engine in this range achieves maximum combustion efficiency. Myth number 14. Cruise control always guarantees the best savings on the highway. Cruise control, CC, is a reactive, not predictive system. It is excellent for saving on perfectly flat roads because it maintains constant speed without human microaccelerations and decelerations. However, its inefficiency is revealed on hilly or undulating terrain. When facing an uphill climb, the CC reacts the moment the speed starts to drop and aggressively accelerates, demanding maximum engine power right when aerodynamic and gravitational resistance is highest. An efficient driver applies the technique of anticipation and inertia. They allow the speed to drop slightly before the climb, without straining the engine, and recover the kinetic energy on the descent, using engine braking with a consumption of 0 liters per hour. This human modulation of speed and intelligent use of gravity is always superior to the binary and inefficient approach of cruise control in variable terrain. Myth number 13. Coasting downhill in neutral saves the most money. This myth is not only false but is a serious safety risk. In a modern car with electronic fuel injection, when the driver is coasting in gear and lifts their foot off the accelerator above idle speed, the ECU activates the fuel cutoff function. This means not a single drop of fuel is injected into the cylinders, resulting in a real consumption of 0 liters per hour. Conversely, when put into neutral, the ECU must continue injecting fuel to keep the engine running at idle. Consumption of approximately 0.5 to 1.0
consumo de
liters per
aproximadamente
hour. In addition to
0.5 a
wasting fuel,
1.0
this
litros
practice
por hora.
eliminates engine braking, forcing the driver to rely exclusively on the friction brakes, which causes rapid brake system overheating, fading, and reduces vehicle control. Myth number 12. Using a thinner oil, low viscosity, always improves fuel economy. Oil viscosity is designed to balance two critical needs: reducing friction for efficiency and maintaining the protective film for longevity. Low viscosity oils, e.g. 0W20, reduce internal resistance. However, if an engine was designed with specific tolerances for a thicker oil, using a thinner oil can cause the lubricant film to break down under high temperature or high contact pressure, shear force on the crankshaft. This breakdown leads to metal-to-metal contact, causing premature or catastrophic wear. Oil selection is a critical parameter of engine engineering. Any deviation from the SAE grade and API-ACA specification recommended by the manufacturer compromises engine longevity without guaranteeing significant savings. Myth number 11. A high-flow air filter drastically increases mileage. The primary function of the air filter is to protect the engine from abrasive particles. Although high-flow oiled cotton sports filters offer superior airflow, stock engines already have intake systems designed to supply more air than the engine needs under normal conditions. In an engine without electronic modifications, tuning, the stock air filter is rarely the bottleneck. Therefore, the gains in efficiency or power obtained are practically insignificant and do not justify the investment. More importantly, many of these filters sacrifice filtration efficiency to gain flow, which allows more microparticles to enter the combustion chamber,
Lo que permite que entren más
accelerating the internal
micropartículas a
wear
la
of the
cámara de
cylinders and
combustión.
pistons in the long term. The best strategy is simply to ensure the stock filter is kept clean and replaced according to the recommended interval. Myth number 10. Gasoline is explosive and can blow up in an accident. This is a powerful visual myth perpetuated by Hollywood. Liquid gasoline does not explode, it burns. For an explosion, violent deflagration to occur, gasoline vapors must mix with air in a very specific stoichiometric ratio between 1.4% and 7.6% vapor by air volume and be confined under pressure. In a full tank, air is limited, and in a nearly empty tank, the mixture is usually too rich. Furthermore, modern fuel tanks are designed to be incredibly resistant and are located away from critical impact zones. In an accident, the risk of fire from a fuel leak contacting hot parts or a spark is real. But the possibility of a bomb-like explosion is almost zero due to the physics of combustion and the vehicle's safety systems. Myth number 9. Refueling in the morning saves money because gasoline is denser. This myth is based on the principle that cold liquids are denser and therefore for every measured liter you get a slightly larger mass of fuel. While the science of thermodynamics is correct, gasoline is denser at lower temperatures. The effect is practically insignificant for savings. This is because gas station storage tanks are buried underground, where the temperature is extremely stable and insulated from external air variations. The temperature difference between night and noon underground is barely a few degrees, if any. Therefore, the impact on density, and consequently on the actual cost per unit of energy, is so tiny that it is completely outweighed by daily price fluctuations or the fuel consumed on the trip to the gas station. Myth number 8. A dirty car improves aerodynamics. Dimple effect. The theory behind this myth is that dirt or mud on the body mimics the dimples of a golf ball, creating a turbulent boundary layer that keeps the airflow attached to the surface, thus reducing aerodynamic drag. This is a misapplication of fluid dynamics. Dirt on a car creates a rough, chaotic, and irregular surface layer. This roughness is not uniform or designed. It only increases the friction of the boundary layer and can cause airflow separation
y puede provocar una separación del flujo de aire peor que la superficie lisa y encerada.
Automobile designers work meticulously to reduce the drag coefficient, CX, with smooth surfaces. Any element that alters that smoothness, including dirt, will only reduce aerodynamic efficiency. Myth number 7. Filling the tank with small loads is better to avoid extra weight. The argument is that a full tank adds weight and reduces mileage. A 50-liter tank of gasoline weighs about 37.5 kilograms. In a 1,500 kilogram car, this difference represents only approximately 2.5% of the total weight. The potential saving from carrying less weight is microscopic. This habit, however, has significant hidden costs and risks. By constantly driving with the tank nearly empty, below a quarter, the fuel pump runs a much higher risk of overheating, as gasoline acts as a coolant and drawing up sediment or dirt from the bottom. Additionally, frequent trips to the gas station waste time and fuel on accelerations and idling, outweighing any theoretical weight savings. Myth number 6. Turning off the radio and charging the phone saves fuel. This myth is based on the correct premise that all electrical consumption, lights, radio, chargers, requires the alternator to impose a load on the engine to generate that electricity, which inevitably consumes fuel. However, the energy consumed by low-voltage electronics, a USB charger or the radio, is so small that its effect on the total engine load is practically negligible, measurable only in highly sensitive laboratories. The largest electrical load is imposed by high-consumption systems, such as the air conditioning, AC, the rear defroster, or high-beam headlights. Worrying about turning off your phone charger is ignoring the macro factors of efficiency, such as incorrect tire pressure or aggressive driving style. Myth number 5. Tires inflated to the maximum, above recommendation, always save more fuel. There is a partial truth to this myth. Increasing tire pressure above the minimum specification does reduce rolling resistance because it decreases the contact patch of the tire with the road. Less contact means less friction, and therefore less fuel consumption. However, inflating tires to the maximum pressure printed on the sidewall, which is the maximum safe pressure for the tire, not the vehicle's ideal operating pressure, or significantly above the manufacturer's recommendation, found in the door jamb or manual, has negative consequences that outweigh the marginal savings, safety, and traction. An overinflated tire deforms incorrectly,
Un neumático
which
inflado en
reduces
exceso
the
se deforma
effective contact patch
incorrectamente.
with the road. This drastically compromises grip, traction, and braking ability, especially in wet conditions or when cornering. Irregular wear. The tread wears faster in the center, as this is the only area in firm contact with the ground, reducing the tire's lifespan and forcing premature replacement. Driving comfort. The tire loses its natural cushioning ability, transmitting more vibrations and bumps to the cabin, making the ride more uncomfortable. The correct approach, using the pressure recommended by the vehicle manufacturer, is the optimal balance point between efficiency, safety, and durability. An increase of 2 to 3 psi above the recommendation might offer marginal savings without unduly compromising safety, but going beyond that is a risk. Myth number 4. Using miracle octane or injector cleaner additives in every tank will keep the engine perfect. The additive industry sells thousands of products promising to boost octane, deep clean the fuel system, or restore lost horsepower. The reality is that, in most cases, modern gasoline already contains a package of essential detergents and additives mandated by government regulations. Gas stations with top-tier certification simply add a higher and often more sophisticated concentration of these same detergents. Octane. An octane-boosting additive is only useful if the vehicle is experiencing knock or pinging due to low-quality fuel, or if the engine has been modified to require higher octane. Using it in a stock engine that already runs on the recommended octane is a waste of money. The ECU will not adjust ignition timing to take advantage of that extra octane. Cleaning. If the engine runs well and quality fuel is used, the use of additives in every tank is a redundant expense. They are only truly effective when a noticeable problem already exists: unstable idle misfire caused by excessive carbon deposit buildup. In those cases, a high concentration treatment can help to clean, but it will not repair a broken component, like a dead injector or a weak fuel pump. The best additive is consistently using top-tier fuel. Myth number 3. Driving slowly behind a large truck drastically reduces consumption due to the slipstream effect. This myth is based on a correct aerodynamic principle. Drafting or slipstreaming behind a large vehicle, especially trucks, can significantly reduce the aerodynamic drag experienced by the following car, which theoretically reduces consumption. The physics. Trucks create a low-pressure wake of air right behind them. By driving within this zone, the following vehicle can experience up to a 30% to 40% reduction in drag. The reality and safety. To achieve significant savings, the vehicle must follow the truck at an extremely short distance, usually less than 1 car length. Maintaining this distance on the highway is extremely dangerous and illegal. The truck completely blocks the rear driver's visibility, and if the truck brakes suddenly, the rear driver will not have enough reaction time to avoid a collision. Furthermore, the truck's speed variations, accelerations and decelerations can force the car to follow an inconsistent driving pattern that, ironically, may negate some of the savings. Conclusion. Although the physics supports it, the risk of accident is so high that this practice is totally unadvisable for fuel economy. Myth number 2. Lighter cars are always safer because they are more maneuverable and consume less. This myth confuses maneuverability with crash resistance. Collision safety. In a collision between two vehicles of different mass, the law of conservation of momentum dictates that the lighter vehicle will absorb and experience a much more violent deceleration, change in velocity, than the heavier vehicle. This extreme deceleration causes the majority of occupant injuries. Modern heavier vehicles typically have a larger programmed crumple zone to dissipate impact energy before it reaches the cabin. Passive safety depends more on the quality of the structure and the airbags than on weight alone. Consumption. In cities, urban cycles, weight is the dominant factor in consumption due to constant acceleration and braking. However, on the highway, extra-urban cycles, aerodynamics and rolling resistance become more important than weight. A heavy but aerodynamic sedan can outperform a light but high-drag SUV in efficiency. Conclusion. Weight alone guarantees neither safety nor optimal efficiency. Modern light cars achieve good safety through the use of high-strength steels in the structure, not simply their lower mass. The choice should be based on the safety rating, NCAP IHS, and the model's aerodynamic efficiency. Myth number 1. Turning off the air conditioning, AC, and opening the windows on the highway saves more fuel. This is a false efficiency choice based on an energy trade-off. Low speeds, city. At speeds below 60 km per hour, about 37 mph, aerodynamic resistance is low. The extra effort imposed by the AC compressor on the engine can be more energetically costly than the drag created by open windows. In this scenario, turning off the AC and opening the windows may offer a marginal saving. High speeds, highway. At speeds above 80 km per hour, about 50 mph, aerodynamic resistance becomes the dominant consumption factor. Drag increases with the square
Abrir las
of the
ventanas
speed.
interrumpe drásticamente
Opening
el
the
flujo
windows
de aire
drastically
aerodinámico
disrupts
del
the
vehículo.
vehicle's aerodynamic airflow, increasing frontal resistance and cabin drag. At these speeds, the extra energy consumed by the engine to overcome the aerodynamic drag is significantly greater than the energy required to run the AC compressor. Conclusion. The rule of 20 truths. After dismantling 20 popular myths, the conclusion on fuel efficiency is definitive. Real savings lie in engineering and discipline, not in tricks. We've seen that paying for unnecessary octane or filling the tank at specific times is useless, and that practices like coasting in neutral or ignoring tire pressure are harmful or dangerous. The Sustainable Savings Roadmap. Respect engineering. Use the exact octane, oil viscosity, and tire pressure your vehicle requires. Don't try to outsmart the manufacturer's specifications. Anticipate. Smooth driving and anticipating traffic save more than any additive or magic device. Remember, decelerating in gear consumes 0 liters per hour. Prioritize maintenance. Keep filters clean and avoid driving with the tank chronically low to protect the fuel pump. Less is less. Avoid prolonged idling. Minimize aerodynamic drag. Close windows at high speed. By replacing superstitions with these habits based on physics and engineering, you will ensure maximum efficiency, protect your engine, and permanently reduce your spending at the gas station.